Hello everyone. Welcome to ServiceNow Automated Test Framework crash course. In this course, you will learn to use ATF in ServiceNow to create and run tests, enable running of tests and test suites, add and configure test steps, run tests, view and interpret test results, determine if a client test runner is required for test execution. Use output variables from a test step as input variables in another test step. Create and use test templates for increased test development efficiency. Create test suites. Run test suites. View and interpret test suite results. Create schedules for running test suites. Add users to scheduled suite watch lists. Select a browser and/or operating system for scheduled suite execution for suites containing client-side test steps. View and interpret scheduled test suite email reports. What is ATF? ATF is Automated Test Framework. It is an application in ServiceNow which is used to automate the testing of applications, customizations, and configurations. What you can achieve with ATF? You can achieve test-driven development in which testing can be done for new applications while doing development. You can achieve regression testing in which existing business logic can be tested via ATF. Regular checkups in which routine checks can be performed for ServiceNow with ATF. Miscellaneous testing in which testing can be done for any other use case where testing is required. This is ATF application in Application Navigator, which you can access to perform automation testing in ServiceNow. What can you test with ATF? You can test forms like incident form, change form with ATF, service catalog form like access request catalog form, or you can also test service catalog form in portal, application navigator like my tasks, open incidents. You can test list like incident list, change list. You can test related list of record like child incidents related list. You can perform testing for REST integration like out-of-the-box table API. You can test reports, dashboard, email, and many other elements of ServiceNow. What is test in ATF? Test is an automated, ordered sequence of steps in ServiceNow. These steps have actions to take and the order in which they can be executed. ATF executes these steps and reports the status of each step as well as the overall status of the test. ServiceNow provides a lot of out-of-the-box tests for a variety of different actions. If you want to see the list of tests, then you can go to Application Navigator and navigate to Automated Test Framework application. And then you can click on Tests. This is my personal developer instance in UTA version. Now let's go to Application Navigator and here type Automated Test. When you will type that, you will see this Automated Test Framework ATF application. And you will see a lot of modules of this application. And we also have test. If I click on this test, I can see the list of available tests in this instance. These are all out-of-the-box tests. As you can see, we have 151 records. These are all out of the box. I have not created any test yet in this instance. let's create a test for user form. So overall, we will test user form. First, we will validate it manually, and then we will validate it automatically via ATF. We will validate the user form manually, and then we will replicate that in ATF, which will test it automatically. Now, as part of this validation, I need to impersonate as ATF user. Let's do that. And then I have to open the ATF user record. I have to validate whether first name, last name, and email field, they are visible on the user form. So let's validate this manually first, and then we will do it via ATF. So if I have to validate manually, for that I will go to the user profile. Here I have this option impersonate user. I will click on impersonate user. When I will click on that, it will open up the option to impersonate any user. For now, I will just select this ATF user. It is already available out of the box in your personal developer instance. After that, you can just click on impersonate user. So I'm going to impersonate with ATF user so that I can check the user form. So I have impersonated as ATF user. Now I will go to application navigator, and here I will just pin it, and I will just check for user module. Let's see. Yes, we do have this user administration and we have users. So I will just click on users, and here I will open any user. Let's say able tutor. If I open this one, so you can see I have this first name, last name, and I also have email. That means you have manually validated it, and you can make the test pass because this is the validation which you can do manually. But now I will validate this with ATF. How will I do that? Let's see that. So we will go to ATF now. So here, but I will first end this impersonation because I have to do this via our main account, which is the admin account. So I will end this impersonation, and then I will move back to my main account, and there I will create the ATF. So here we have the main user, and then I will go to ATF again, and I will click on test, and I will click on new, and I will create a new test. So here I will write validate user form, and I will click on save. So first you have to create the test. Once you create the test, it will save the record, and then you will see all these related lists like test steps, test results, mutually exclusive tests, and breakpoints. Now I have to add test steps, the same steps which I validated manually. How? We will go here. We have this option add test step. I will click here. It will populate something. See, so I can add different test step type of. If you remember, we impersonated ATF user. So we will do the same thing. We will impersonate someone. So I will click on impersonate. So here's one of the action I can take. I will click on next, and then I will provide the input to this impersonate, because I have to tell this user this step that which user I have to impersonate. I think form is not yet loaded. So here I will select the user. So let's say I will select same ATF user which we impersonated. So I will select ATF, and I have this one, and I will just click on submit. So our first step is added. Then I will add another step. So we impersonated the user. We have to go to that module users. So how will I go? I will basically go to application navigator. Here we have navigate to module. I will just click on navigate to module. I will click on next. Now this step will basically click on that module. It's for navigation. So here I can search for users. I think we have a lot of users here, but let's check because I have to make sure we are selecting the right module. And this is something you need to always make sure that when you create any test, that you might find that same module is there in multiple applications. So you have to make sure that you are selecting the right module. So here we have users. See, we have at least 5 users, but we want it for user administration. So we have these. One is this one, and then we have this one. Both are for same table. So basically both are part of that application. So for now, what I will do, let's select the second one. You can validate it. How? You have this I option here. You click on this. You have user underscore admin. I think you should be able to access this one, because there is another one which I think only admin can access. So you can just use this one for now, and I will click on submit. So it can navigate to that module, and then I will click on add test step. If you remember, we opened that able tutor record, and what exactly we will do, it's a list. So I will go to the list. I will basically search for open record in a list. If I go here, so I will basically open the record. So you remember able tutor was there. So I will look for that able tutor. So we have this related list. Okay, I will select list because it will open up the list. Record, I can select able tutor. Let me just mention here. Here I can just mention able, and I will get that name. Yes, and I can click on OK, and then I will click on submit, because able tutor's record was available in the first list. And I will open the record, and then I will validate the fields. How I will validate? I will go to form. Here I have field state validation. So I will just click on next. Field state validation means I can validate if fields are available, mandatory, read only, all those different testing. So here we have visible. I will just mention this. So if you remember, we have to validate email, first name. I will look for first name. We have first name, then we have last name. Overall, we have to validate 3 fields. So we have last name, and that's it. I will just click on submit, and then after validation, so I'm done. It will just validate all these 3 fields. That's what I validated manually. So we definitely did that with manual steps, but here you have kind of replicated same steps in ATF by, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have impersonated someone, then you are navigating to that module, which we go by an application navigator. Then you open a record in a list, and then you validate whether those fields are available or not. Now we did that manually. Now you can think, let's say we have 100 test steps. How can you validate that manually? It will definitely take longer time. So ATF will be useful in that situation, that you can put all those steps, even it's 150, you can put those steps in ATF, and then you can just run the test, and system will automatically validate all those test cases, all those test steps which you have mentioned in your ATF. So this is how you can create test in ATF and replicate manual steps which will perform test automatically. Demo app. I have created a sample custom application called Demo app, which we will use to perform testing with ATF in this course. This way, you can understand how can you create ATF regression for new application, and you will also learn to create ATF for testing different types of use cases for other applications of the platform. So if I go to Application Navigator and I type Demo app, see, we have this Demo app. For this, I just created 2 tables. One is Demo app request, and then we have made child for this, which is Demo app task. So if I show you, I can just open some records. So if I click, you see these are all open records, existing records which we created. And if I click on create new, this is the form we have. We have just used out of the box fields, Short description and description field, those are mandatory. We have priority, state, parent, assigned to, configuration item, and work nodes. I can just quickly show you that what exactly it does. So we have test and short description. I will mention test. I will click on save. And after saving this record, you will see a new related list. You can see it says demo app tasks, because these are tasks for this demo app request. I just try to create an application in such a way so that you understand, because that's how our system works. Even an incident, change, problem, all those different applications have child tasks as well. You can create n number of tasks by automation. So I have added those few features as well. For example, if I open this, like for example, I change this to priority 1, it will open up a pop-up. See, you have set the priority of this ticket to P1, and I can click on OK. It will set to P1. So we will test this. You can see this is custom UI. So this is part of the UI page we created. So we will test this as well. Enable and disable test. ATF can be executed on any ServiceNow instance, and ServiceNow keep the test execution disabled by default on a fresh new instance to prevent accidental execution of test. So if I go to ATF again, so here we have test. I will just leave this. And if I open this validate user form, you can see this message. Running tests and test suite is disabled. But you can also see that there is a link beside this message. So overall, as of now, it is saying that you cannot run this test. You're not even seeing any button to run this test. You have just created it, but you cannot run this. Now you have this link, enable test and test suite execution here. If I will click on this link, this will take me to the properties page of ATF. There's one way like this, and even in the module, even in the application, you have this module properties. If I will click this, it will open the same page. You can see here, enable test and test suite execution, schedule test as well. Both are disabled. If you have to run the test, it is definitely obvious that you will enable it for lower instance. So for that, I will just click on yes, and I will click on save. This will enable the execution of ATF. That means now you can run ATF in this instance. So even if you have created multiple tests, but this property is not enabled, you cannot run the test in this instance. You can see here it says enabled schedule suites because test execution was enabled, and it also says that properties updated. So overall, test execution is enabled in this instance. Now there is one important point before we talk about running the test in this instance. You should not enable test execution in production. This is totally not recommended. I would say it's not completely allowed to do that, because ServiceNow, because if you will enable it in production, then you might face some unexpected consequences in production. So overall, if I talk about the recommendation, you should not enable ATF execution in production. It should be completely disabled. So you should only run ATF in lower environment. Let's say you have development environment, test environment, UAT environment, you have production 4 environments. So you should only enable and run ATF in 3 environments only, except production. Now property is enabled and test execution is also enabled. So now we will run the test, the existing test which we just created for user form. So let's go to test, and here we have validate user form. We will see whether it is, how exactly it is testing. So we have opened the test. Now you will see we are able to see run test button. We have one more button, debug test. So 2 buttons are automatically visible once you enable the test execution. Run test and debug test. Run test is for running the test. Debug test is for debugging the test. So here I will just click on run test. Now when you will click on run test, it will show you a pop-up. It will say pick a browser. A test you have selected includes client-side steps, because there are two types of testing: server-side testing, client-side testing. This definitely has client-side testing because you're navigating somewhere, you're checking the form's visibility on the form. So here we have choose a browser to run. So definitely we have Mac system, so it is Safari browser. So we have start a new test runner. Now, how exactly ATF execute the test? How exactly it shows you what kind of test is running, and that is a client test runner. So if I will click on this run test, it will open up the client test runner. How? See that? If I click on this run test, then you will see it will open a new tab. In this new tab, it will open client test runner. Now, a client test runner is the runtime environment for client test. The client test runner execute the test steps as a specific user using the browser, for example, Chrome, Edge, Safari, in which client test runner is launched. Now, as we clicked on run test, it will execute tests, and you can see that it has already executing as ATF user. That means it has impersonated. It is going to that module. That means users. You can see the list of users. Now it will open that record able.tutor. If you remember, that was our next step, where it will open the form which is able.tutor. And then it will validate those three fields which we wanted to validate. So it is validating. You can see it is pretty much slow. It's kind of taking longer time. And I will tell you the reason that why exactly it is taking time. You can fix it if you are doing it first time. I will tell you the option that how can you expedite ATF. What are the recommendations, standards to make sure your ATF runs pretty much faster. So test is completed, but client test runner is still open. You can see here we have your connection status is connected. Executing as it is as of now, it is not impersonating anyone. So if we still have system administrator, it is talking about the UI batches executed. Then here is the important message, waiting for a test to run. So till you will keep this tab open, that means client test runner will continue to run, and it will keep on waiting that if a next trigger, next test will be executed. So it will wait for that until you trigger any test. And this shows the whole execution frame, shows the whole test, that how exactly, it's kind of the replica, how exactly a user goes to a form, validate different actions. It shows you exactly the mirror image, all the actions. And that's a powerful feature we have in ATF. So as of now, it is finished. And what we will do, we will go to the previous tab, the main tab. We were asked to select the browser. Now, if I click here, see, it was passed successfully. That means all the steps were passed successfully. Whole test is validated successfully. It says test validate user form started by, and then it executed all those steps. It is showing you, and it also did roll back all these different steps, and it is done. But your client test runner is still active because it is waiting for another test to run. Now let's say I close this. That means your client test runner is closed. So it is not basically waiting anymore. It's client based. So you opened it, now you have closed it. Now, important point to note about client test runner is that client test execute faster when client test runner is in the main open window or tab, else it will run really slow. That means when you click on that test, and if that new tab is opened, you have to keep your system on the same tab. Then only ATF will run the test smoothly and faster. Otherwise, if you will, let's say while running the test, because we just tested few steps, but let's say you have 20 steps and you thought to move to another application, in that case your ATF will run really slow. Now ServiceNow has introduced a feature which is called headless browser, in which you don't have to actually be available on the system. It can be done in the backend automatically. But for that feature, you have to perform some configurations in your system or on your server, and then only you can do that. In order to get more information about that, you can just go to or refer ServiceNow documentation. Now, as an ATF administrator, you can also manage client test runner in application itself. Let's see that. So I will close this. We are already in Automated Test Framework. Now, if you go at the bottom, we have this all test runners. If you will see at the top, we have this client test runner. If I will click on this, it will open the client test runner in the same tab, not a new tab, in the same tab. Now, if I go at the bottom, here we have all test runners. If I click this button, now this shows all test runners running. But as of now, you can see it says status offline. It was manual, one was scheduled, and both are inactive. Status reason is closed or navigated away. That means you're not using anymore. It is done. One is Chrome, Safari, because we also ran in Safari. It's talked about browser version, user who exactly executed it, then OS version, status offline, because we have closed them. And then you have last check-in and the reason. So these are the information you can get for client test runner. And you can check if any client test runner is running or not. Another important of client test runner is that server-side test steps do not use client test runners. It's kind of obvious. They just run in the backend. However, you can monitor the status of both client-side and server-side steps in that pop-up, which we were seeing when you clicked on Run Test. Let's create a new test for demo app to understand other details of ATF testing. So let's go to test in ATF. So we have tests, and here I will create a new test. So click on new, and here I will mention new test for demo app, and I will click on save. It is saved. Now I will add some test steps. So test steps, I will add test step, and here I have impersonate. Let's impersonate with ATF user, and here I can just mention ATF. Now we have already added relevant rule for demo app in ATF user. Now one message you can see here, it says impersonating existing user may cause unexpected behavior for this test. So ideally ServiceNow recommends not to use existing or impersonate existing user. Basically you should create a new user and then impersonate. But for now, I'm just impersonating existing one. So I'm using this one, submit. So it will impersonate ATF user. Then I'm adding another test step. Here I will basically open a form. So I will just go to open new form. I will click on next. And here I will open which one? Demo app for sure. So I have demo app. I will just click here and search for demo app request, and then I will just click on submit. This will open the normal new record, and then I can, let's say, set the values. I can set the values like short description and description. And here I will mention short description and description. And the reason we are doing, because those are mandatory. So we cannot submit the record without filling those fields. So I will mention this is a test for ATF. I will copy, and here I will just mention short description. and I will just click on submit. It will set those values, and then I will add another test step which will submit the record because I have to create it. So here we have another test step which is submit a form, and I will click on next, and I will just submit it. That's it. It will ask me assert type, form submitted to server. Yes, I will keep the same. I will click on submit. It is done. And now I can click on test, run test. So we have this option. So we are done. Just few steps. So I will just click on run test. If I will click on run test, it will again ask me to pick the browser. And now I will click on run test. It will open the client test runner again. So we will click on this. See, it is opening the client test runner and it will run the test. It will execute as ATF user. You will see that in a while. See, executing test, ATF user now, and it is opening the form, filling up the data as well. You will see it will fill the data. So it is just validating, and then it is setting up the fields. See, we got the fields here, and now it will submit the form. That means it will create the record. You can see the record number is 1030. So it's done, and now it will close the test. That means complete the test. That means test execution will be completed, and it is keep on reporting the test result as well. If I go to the first tab, you will see it's done, 100%, no errors. That means whatever steps we have added, it validated successfully. Now, one thing to note here, once you are done with all these steps, in the end, you will always see one step which is same, and that is rollback. So it says rollback completed successfully. So rollback of test records in ATF. Now once ATF is executed, it also roll back records which were created or updated during ATF execution. So if you remember, we had that 1030 record which was created as part of this ATF. If I will close this and I go to the demo app, because I want to check, I will click on all and I will look for that 103C. We do not have that 1030 record. And the reason is it was created via ATF, and ATF rolled back that record. And that's the reason, that is also one of the reason you should not use it in production instance, because it can give you some unexpected experience or some results. So overall that record is rolled back, and this is a good feature. So ATF roll back the records which are created as part of ATF execution or updated. But there are some tables which are exempted from this rollback. And those tables are history table, ECCQ table, email log table, report executions table, report stats, any table that extend these tables. This means that any record which was updated or created in these tables as part of ATF execution, those records will not be rolled back. Or any table which extend these tables. So those records will never be rolled back. Now you cannot disable ATF rollback. Let's say somebody might ask you that, hey, I want to disable rollback in ATF. So you cannot. And even if you try to do that, that might give you unexpected consequences throughout the platform. So overall, I would not recommend anyone, or I would say it is not allowed to disable ATF rollback. Not at all. Because this will definitely impact the platform. Test results and logs. For any execution, results are really important. And in this case, we are running automated test. So we definitely want results. What exactly the result we have, how exactly it executed, whether it was passed, failed, if failed, why it got failed, and then logs. So ServiceNow also keeps all these results and logs for ATF execution. So if I go to my test. So I will go to automated test here, test list, new test for demo app. So there are two ways to go to test results. One, when you run the test after execution, in the main tab you have, once it's executed, it has a button called go to result button. But let's say it got executed and now you can see I have already navigated to other records, but you can still access same result. How? So you open the same test for which you want to see the results. You have first tab, test steps. Second tab is test results. You click on this. See, we have this same test which was executed. So I will open this, open record. Now this is the test result of the test which we executed. These are all information available. You have screenshots. You have additional information. It says success because everything was passed. Pending time, start time, end time, duration, which test, output, browser involved. Then you have some more information as well, like step results. For each step, what exactly the result was. Then test log. That means the log of each information in the backend, what exactly it was executing, the transactions, all those things are here, logging as well. And then you have test transaction, overall client transactions. So you can see all these impersonate, open a new form, which page it is opening, which URL, all those client transactions are basically displayed here. Now, if I go here, you have this step results. You have these status. Now, status here we see only success, but you can also see other options because status is a choice option. You can see some other options as well, like waiting, which means the test has not run yet. Running, if test is currently executing. Success, if test completed successfully, which is this one. Failure, if test is completed but result was not successful. Skipped, test was ran, maybe due to a failure in a previous step. Error, test was not completed due to an error during execution. Cancelled, test was not executed due to user intervention. Now, when we open this test result, you must have seen some attachments, images. So if I go at the top, here we have these images. Now, what exactly these images are? They say screenshot. Now, ATF also takes a screenshot for pass and fail steps. And you can also control this via a property. So if I go to application navigator under ATF, we have this administration properties. So if I go to properties page, here you have this screenshot properties. Under screenshot properties, you have this option enable for all steps. When you see this, which is by default in a fresh instance, that means it will take this screenshot for all the steps, even it's passing, even it's failing. But you have other options like enable for failed steps, disable for all steps. If you will keep it enable for failed steps, it will only take the screenshots only for failed steps. Wherever step is failing, it will take the screenshot. But if you will see disable for all steps, it will not take the screenshot at all. It will disable the screenshot taking completely. So and this will basically expedite your test execution. So when you actually get a new instance, you create the test, it will run really slow, because it is keep on taking screenshot for all the steps, even it's passing, even it's failing. But if you will keep it just for failed steps, then it will only take it for failed steps and it will execute really fast. And you can also disable it completely. Now, taking a screenshot definitely helps so that you can see where exactly it is failing from UI point of view. But I think for now we can just keep it disabled because we definitely want to execute the test steps fast for this demo. So I will keep it disabled for all steps and I will click on save. Now let's quickly see those screenshots as well. So I updated this And now I go to that test and I can access that test result. But there is another way to access test result as well. I told you, first one, when you execute it, when it's done, directly from the test step, test. And then another is, we already have a module with test results. It will show you all the test results. So see, this was the one which we executed. It is a success one. I can just open this one. And let's see if I can open any image which is attached as a screenshot. It's for, I think, let's see this one. I think it is downloading. So I will just open this image and let's see. Yeah. So basically it took the screenshot of even the passing one as well. So because everything was passing and it still took, I think, 3 screenshots. See, 3 screenshots. So overall now we have disabled it. Well, let's see how it runs it. I think it will run really fast. So let's run that test. So I will open the record and then I will just quickly run the test. So here I will click on run test. It will ask me to run again. I will run. It will open the client test runner, but it's already open. You can see that. And you will see it will test it really fast. See, it opened it. It will mention the data quickly, short description, and then it will just complete the test. And yeah, it's done. And it will just execute it. And it is done. Submitting the form. See, it's submitted. And it is done. No screenshot is taken, and you will see that. So it is still running, taking, I think it said taking screenshot, but let's see if it actually took the screenshot. See, it's done. If I go to test result, okay, it is still taking the screenshot, but we disabled it for all the steps. If I go to properties page, because we already disabled it, disable for all step. Enable the glide record screenshot feature. This may improve fidelity of screenshots and not support Internet Explorer. I think maybe it is capturing because of this, because we have just disabled it. Maybe I will just disable this as well. Just save it. Let's see if it takes the screenshot. I go to test again. Click here. Ideally, it should not take. I will run this. Click on run, and we already have that. Maybe I need to close this one, and I think it's running, but maybe I need to cancel the pending steps, because maybe our client test runner was already opened and it doesn't have that instruction yet. That might be the reason. Yes, that might be the reason, but that's fine. We will rerun this. So I open this. And I will just open this record and I will just click on run test again. So we have this run test, and I will click on run test. This will open the client test runner. It is not, but why it is not opening? Maybe I will open myself. Yep, because we definitely want this test run to be executed. Maybe we just need to restart the browser. That's the reason. Let's see if it is executing. Executing the server. It basically impersonated, and now see, it is executing, and we will see whether it is taking the screenshot or not. So it is reporting, setting the fields, see, setting the fields, and now submitting the form. This time you're not getting that message that, hey, taking the screenshot. No, we will see that. And if I go here, it is executing, rollback successfully. If I go to result, you will not see any screenshot. See, we do not have any attachment in the result. And that's the reason. So you have to remember, when you disable it, first you have to close your existing client test runner, and then you have to open a new one. In that case, it will not take the screenshot at all if you selected that particular option. Now you saw 3 types of transactions, transaction logs in result. One is step results, test log, test transaction. Now we already explained, but step results, it shows the result of for a particular step, all the specific steps we have in the test. Then we have test log. This shows logging information for the test and all the steps. And then we have test transactions, which shows browser client-side interactions with ServiceNow. Debugging tests. Debugging is an important action for a developer. So ServiceNow also provides debugging feature in ATF to allow developers to access additional information about test execution. Now, debugging is disabled by default. However, you can enable it via a property. Let's see that. If you go to test, and if I go to this test, so we already have this option debug test. And if I go to properties, see, we have this test debugging properties. It says enables additional debugging functionality for automated testing framework plugin, including but not limited to debugging tab on the test runner UI page and saving UI test result JSON to the test result record. So if you want to enable the test debugging, you can just enable this option and click on save. And if, let's say, you're not able to troubleshoot anything, let's say you have a big test, maybe have some 50 steps and you are running it, but you are getting some errors and you're not able to troubleshoot properly. In that case, you can use this test debugging. Test step variables. ATF needs to provide inputs to process the steps, which are called ATF variables. There are two types of variables in ATF: input variables and output variables. ATF uses these variables to pass data from one test step to another test step. Let's open a test. So I go to tests and then I will open any test. Here is the test we had, new test for demo app. Now we have to open a step because variable you will see in test step. So we will go to test step. So basically impersonate. Now every step definitely needs some input and we can also get output out of it. So if I open this test step, we are putting this user. It is an input. Now how will you know that? So I can do one thing. I can open the record of step configuration. So if I open this record, there's the step configuration, standard impersonate step configuration. If I will open this, you will see, so there's a script to impersonate that is written out of the box. This is totally out of the box. You can see it says item is read only based on its protection policy because this is out of the box. And I'm just opening the record. So if I open this, it is just taking time to reload the form. So it's open. So if I go at the bottom, we have these two related lists. See, input variables, output variables. And this is very important because in ATF, you can also create custom steps as well, as per the use case you have in your organization. So you have this input. So input is, you remember, we have to provide the input that which user I want to impersonate. What output will be there? Same user, there's reference, nothing else. Because even we can use that if I'm impersonating any user. Let's say I want to assign that record to that user, and I will show you now that how you can do that. Create a test by using input and output variables. So we already have a test available. We will not create a new from scratch, but we will just use that one so that I can show you. So let's say I have this, I go to test and I open this one, new test for demo app. If you remember, we had that assign to field on our request, demo app request form, where we are opening here set field values. And I will show you that set field values, that how I will use an output from previous step, which is impersonate. You will see that. Let's say I want to assign this record to the same user whom I'm impersonating. So I will select assign to. It is a reference field. I will select assign to. When I will select that, here I can select directly any user of the system. Here I have this data pill. Now here, if you will select, it will ask you and it will automatically show you that, hey, I think I am validating and I'm checking that there are some output variables available from your previous steps. As part of this, we only had one output variable available from impersonate step. And it is giving me, if I click on this, then we have user reference. I can just directly select user. That's it. That means now it will assign this record to the same user we are impersonating. And we are impersonating ATF user. Let's see that. So I will just update it. So I will save this. So it is saved. And now I will run this. I will definitely run this test because we want to see how exactly it is using that output variable in next step. So I will click on run. Our client test runner is already opened. I will click on this. Let's see, it will execute here. You will see this time assign to will also be populated. Previously it was not, but now you will see assign to will be populated with same user. See here, it has populated assign to with ATF user. So that's how you can use output variable. So this is the input and output variable. Input is something you provide input for a particular test step, and you get the output, and that output variable can be used in another test step. Now this is very important section of this course where I will create ATF test with various types of test categories so that you learn all these different type of testing like form testing, application navigation testing, API testing, email testing. So let's start with application navigator testing. So I will go to my instance. Here we have already this client test runner running. I will go to previous tab and I will start creating new test. So we will start with application navigator testing. So I will click on new. Now it's up to you how you club the test, how you bucket them, how you categorize them. It's totally up to you that how you manage your test cases, test suites. But in this example, I will show you separately. So for now, I'm just doing demo app navigator. Navigator testing, and maybe I will just put application. So here we have demo app application navigator testing. I will click on save to save this test, and now I will add steps. So here I will start with add test step, and I will just impersonate ATF user, and I will just click on next. And here I will just select that ATF user. So that was so I will select ATF user, and now I will click on submit. First step added. I will add second step now. Second step will be navigation. So overall we have to test application navigation. So I will go to application navigator. First thing is I need to validate whether this user is able to access demo app. So I can go to application menu visibility and I can click on next, because I have to check whether user is able to access the demo app. So visible application menu, I will just mention demo app. So we have this application menu. I will close this. It says at least these application menus are visible, and then I will just click on submit. So it will validate whether user can access that menu. Then I will add test step, and then we will validate module visibility. I will click on next. We will not validate all of them, but maybe few of them. Visible modules, I will go here. Now here I can search for, let me open it in a new window. Here I will just mention, I think we have that all, if you remember all. I just want to validate whether user can access that all. So I will just mention demo here. See, so we have all. I will select this all for now. And it also says at least these modules are visible. Another option is only these modules are at least these modules or only. That means if user sees some other modules, then it should fail. But for now, I'm just mentioning at least these modules are visible, which is all for now. And this is the important piece, that when I basically select that record, you have to make sure that, as I told you earlier, you can have same module name in multiple application menus. So you have to make sure that you are selecting in this right application menu so that your test does not fail. So I just log this, click on submit, and I think navigation we already tried, but we will add it again. So because that's the third one, navigate to module, I will click on next, and then here we have create new. Now how you will come to know that it is from that only, that application menu only. So I will just mention create new. Maybe I will just click on search, and I have to do it from demo app. See, we have this one table. I will select this one. We will run the test. We will see whether same create new was open or not. That's how you can validate. So I will click on submit, and it's done. All the 3 application navigator test configurations I have added, and now I will click on run test. So if I click on run test, it will open that pop-up. I will click on run again, and if I go here, it will wait for that run. Maybe it has not executed. Yeah, it is executing. See that now. It will show you. So it is executing at server side first because it was impersonating, and you will see it will now start navigating. So see, verifying application menu visibility first. So it is verifying whether user can see that menu or not. That's the first step. Then it will verify that module visibility is there or not. It will not show you on the screen. And then third is it will click on that create new. And if you are seeing the form, same form, demo request, see, we can see demo request form, which means it validated successfully. I was able to navigate to the same module as part of this demo app. That means all these 3 testing is done successfully, even with the rollback. All done, it is passed successfully. So that's how you can validate, you can perform testing for application navigation in ServiceNow with ATF. Next is form testing. So we will do some form testing, that means visibility of the fields, some clicking of buttons, maybe UI action visibility, and we will also perform testing for custom UI. That is also really useful because a lot of people are stuck with custom UI testing. So we will also do that in this. So let's go to our instance, close this. I will add another test. And here I will create new test. So here is the new form. As I said, I am just creating these tests separately, but it's up to you how you manage them. Whether you want to keep all these steps in one test, it's totally up to you. For now, here I'm mentioning demo app form testing. So I'm done, and I'm just clicking on save. So this is the name I have given, active fail on server error, and it is done. I will add steps now. So add test step. So first step definitely has to be impersonate. So I will click on impersonate, click on next, and I will impersonate ATF user. So here we have ATF user, and I will click on submit. I will now, next one is open the form. So I will go to form now. Even form has lot of, so these are all categories in the left hand side, and here we have these different step configurations. So we have open a new form. I will start with open a new form. I will click on next. Basically, we will try to use all the test configurations so that you understand how you can perform testing in your use case. So we will select table here, which will be demo app request, and then we will click on submit, because it will just open the normal form, the new form, and then I will add test step. I will now set or maybe I will just validate the fields. So field state validation, because I will validate whether those fields are available or not. So I will make that visible. Number, priority, state, assigned to, short description. I think even the description is there. So description, what else? What else? I think description, assigned to, configuration item. Yes, configuration item is also there. I will just add configuration item. Active checkbox is also there. So that field is there. Parent is also there. We will just add that. Parent is also there. And I will just lock this. Not visible, read only. Yes. Number is read only. I will add that. Not read only, mandatory. Yes, we have short description and description mandatory. So we will add that as well to make sure it is passing. Not mandatory. Yeah, I think configuration item is not mandatory. So I will just add that as well. Even assigned to is not mandatory. I will add that. That's fine. I think it's up to you. You want to, ideally you should add all the fields as per your test case. So this is just a demo I'm showing you, but you definitely need to complete your test. So I will click on submit. So now our field states is validated. Then now we will just go to add test step. I will add another step, which is field value validation. When new form is opened, if you remember, priority is always showing as 4. So we can validate that whether it is showing 4 or not. So I can just go to priority, and then I can just mention priority 4, which is low, and that's it. It will validate whether priority is low or not. And then I will add another step. I will just set the values now. Click on next. So we will validate the set the values on the field. So here I have field values. Description, I will just mention this is ATF form testing. So I can just copy this, and even I just want this in short description. So I will just go to short description and just put it here. And then I can just also mention if I want assigned to. And here I will just mention assigned to. I will assign it to, let's say, able tutor. And maybe I will mention configuration item. We are just selecting all the possible fields which we have on the form. So I will just mention maybe BlackBerry, maybe this one. And we will just submit this. Now you remember, we also had that custom UI. We will do that in just one shot. How? We will show you. For that, whenever you have to click on or basically access the custom page, there is a feature we have in ServiceNow that you can manually inspect those elements, because it's a custom UI. You have to inspect the element first and then, but ServiceNow, you can do it both ways. You can do manually or you can also do automatically, and ServiceNow provides that feature in ATF itself automatically. So what I will do, now I will set that priority value. You will see that. So what I will do, I will just go to add test step. And here I will just do test set field values. I will make that P1 now, so that I can see that pop up, which is the custom UI page. So I will just do this priority. So if I am adding the priority, I will just add critical here, and I will just click on submit. When system will do that, ATF will do that, it will show that pop up. But now, how can I click on that element? For that, we have a test step. I will show you. I will click on this add test step. Now you cannot do this via this form, because it is not a UI action or model. It can be a model button. Yes, that option is also kind of possible. But let's say I'm using it via, because it's a UI page. I want to validate the text as well, and I want to validate, I want to click on that OK button as well. For that, I can go to custom UI. Here, custom UI shows you some more options like set component values. You can assert text. I mean, you validate whether the text is available or not on that page. You can click on a component. You can open a service portal page as well. So these are the options available. For this use case, for this test, we will just use assert text on page, and we will use click component, and you will see how exactly it does that work. So I will do one thing. I will first open the ServiceNow in a new tab. Maybe I will just do duplicate. So because I really want to open that demo app record first and see what text we have so that we can use that in our test. So we have this. If I change this to P1, here is the text. So what I'm going to do, I will just copy the whole text. I will go to my test. First, I will assert text on page. I will click on next. And here I will mention this. Now you can see for assert, it is not talking about the element because it will just normally randomly check the same text on the page. That's it. And it is assert type text on the page or text is not on the page. So I will just submit this. This is pretty much straightforward, no issues. But now I have to click a component which is okay. So I will click add test step. And now I will select this click component. Now this will do something different, not just show you the page. What? I will click on next. You will see that. This will open when exactly the same page where we run the test. It will do the same thing, but the name it says retrieve page components. What it will do now? It will basically run the test, whole test, and go to that page and validate that, hey, what all components we have in that page. And then you can select which component you have to click. So let's click on retrieve component. It will run the whole test. You will see that. Click on retrieve component. And now you can go to your client test runner, which is here. See, it has started the test. So that's the feature you have in ServiceNow, that you can, with the help of ATF, in ATF, you can click a custom component as well. And you will see it will set all those other values as well. So it's validating field values, reporting results. I don't know why it is taking snapshot. Maybe it's not taking the screenshot. See, we have filled all the fields. See, we got that custom component. Now it will stuck. It will stop here because we got that component. So now if you will go see the difference, it will tell you, hey, I basically retrieved some components and I checked it and it got succeeded. And now I can click on next and you will see the magic. So I will click on next. See, this time it is showing you that step configuration. So whenever you will use click component, it will first run the test, retrieve the components. With those components will be visible here. So I need to search for OK button. Yeah, we have this OK button. I can select this and I can click on submit. That's it. I'm done. It will set the priority to P1. Now I will also do one thing. I will update the record. So what I will do, I will click on add test step, go to form. Here I have click a UI action and I will click on next. That's how you will learn this as well. How can you click a UI action? Here I will select. So we have this update. So I will just select update. Even update records are basically two. So what I will do, I will click on this magnifying glass. See which one make more sense. So update on say record rate on previous screen. Update shows a multiple. No, this is not for a multiple. So I can select this one. So it's done. And here assert type form submitted to the server or reloaded. I think I will just do submitted to the server and I will just click on submit. So even I now I'm able to click on that UI action and this will update the record. Now, if I click on this, it will submit it, but I really want to open the record as well. So see, I have this open existing. I will open that record. Now, how will I know basically? But before that, we have not yet submitted. I think you don't need to update it. You can just submit the record. So I don't think you need this click a UI action. You can just disable it for now. Yeah, you don't need this one, and that's how you can disable. This will not execute this step. What I can do, I will submit it. The reason is because I am just opening the new record. So why I will update it? Click on update. I will just submit it. I will click on submit, and now I can open the existing record, which is again on that form testing. See, open an existing record. I will click on next. Here I will open the existing. Now which existing? So here it is asking me to select the record, or from data pill I can just select here. We have two options from output variables. One is from impersonate. Definitely I cannot select that. I have to select from submit a record. So here I have this record. I will select this one, submit a form, and then I have record, and I will just click on this submit. I'm done. And now I can basically test it. So let's run this test. So overall, we opened the form. I think we clicked on UI action. We don't need it overall. We were able to set the values. We were able to click on a custom component as well. So let's run this and see how it works. So I clicked on it, and now it will execute the test. The good part is that we have disabled all the taking the screenshots, so it will run really fast. So it is open the form, which is a new form. It will set the values assigned to configuration item, short description. So it will set those values. So see, it says setting field values done, and now it will basically waiting. Yep, it changed to priority 1, and now it will click on that custom component, which is okay. When it will click, see, clicked. Now I can click on submit. So it will submit the record. See, it's done. Match found reset to original. That's fine. I don't know why it says match not found. If I go here, okay, maybe it is saying that user was not available. But I think we selected able tutor should be there, but I'm surprised that why it is not showing. But it got failed, and it also rolled back. But let's see the result. I think this is something we have not seen yet, the failure results. It says failed to submit form using save action. And but why? What is the reason behind it? I will see. Failed to submit. Okay, it basically got failed on submission. Like everything was set, no issues, and submit to server, step transaction, using the save action. Okay, that's fine. I think what I can do, let me just fix it. I'm sure this can be fixed. So if I just go to here, okay, I have to go to the step. So I will go to my test, and then I will go to the test step. So here, submit a form, submit it to the server. Let's do one thing. I think it is not submitting. Maybe I will use save. I think that is much better, I would say. So let's disable it. I will save it. I think it's not the right time to check why it is basically failing for submit. Ideally, it automatically does it and without any issues. I've not seen that earlier, but that's fine. I will click a UI action. You will also understand that how you click a UI action. So here I can, but you have to remember one thing. It has to be added before open an existing record, which is after click a component. So I will first click a UI action, and I will click on next. Here I can select save button, but I will use it, which we normally use. Here I will just mention save. Save a new record, rebreaks this, saves existing record, new record, this button, advanced version, existing, new record, notification preference, UI, save button. Okay, let's use this one, and I will click on submit. We will see that whether we are able to click or not, and I will click on run test, and see the execution. So it is executing the test, opening the new form, It will then validate the field values. I think if you want to expedite this, you can definitely disable that step, because validation definitely takes time, but that's fine. I think it is not taking that much of time. So it will set the values now. Done. Able tutor is there. So initially I thought that maybe it's failing at able tutor, but it has that record. But I think I don't know why it is keep on saying that invalid reference. So it is invalid update. Maybe it is because of that. Yes, it is not happening because of other reason. I think because it's happening because of that. Initially I thought, yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't realize as per the step for failure results. But now see, it says record finger sign value no longer exist. I don't know why it is telling. So setting the field values, if I go here, because able tutor is there, it is in the system. So if I go here, see, if I select OK, and if I select able tutor, let's see. That's the reason. Let's see what all users we can select. Maybe just two, Bernard, and we cannot use all of them. That's fine. For now, I will just use this Bernard Laboy. So I will just copy this. It could be some reason, maybe some reference qualifier. I did not put any reference qualifier, but I don't know why it exactly filtering all those other records. But this is totally fine for now. I can still show you. So I can just go to set field values. Here I can select that. And even if you're getting the failures, I think it's really good as part of this course, because you can learn. If you will not get the failures, how you will learn ATF, that if you will, because those failures can come in the future. So I think it's kind of a learning. So if I open this, and here I will not select able tutor anymore. I will just select this user, which is Bernard Laboy, and I will just update it. And this time I will run. So if I remember, I think now you should not worry about that submit. So I can disable this one. So this one, I can disable this one, and I will directly use submit a form, because this will be used. So I will click on this true, and I will run this. I'm sure this time it will run without any issues. And now see the execution. So it is waiting for test to run, opening the new form. It will assign to, this time, a different person, not able tutor. So setting up the fields. So see, we have Bernard Laboy this time, and I'm going to click on OK now, and I will submit the form. So after clicking OK, I will submit the form. Okay, it's submitting. See, record was created successfully. That means that was the issue. That assign to field was the issue. That's the reason submit button was also not working. But now it's submitted successfully. It will execute this test, 100% pass. So see here, succeeded, 100% passed without any issues. So you can go to result. So that means this form testing with custom UI testing, by clicking some buttons, by setting some values, done. So that's how you can do form testing. List testing and related list testing. Let's see that. So we go to test, and I will create a new test. So click on new, and here I will mention demo app list and related list testing. Clicking on save, and now I will add test steps. So starting with definitely impersonate, and here I will just mention ATF user, submit. So first step is added, then I will click on add test step. So for list and related list, you have this category, list and related list. how we will validate. So you can use the navigation. So we will navigate to the module and we will go to maybe all, and that all has to be from demo app, not any other app. So here is one. See, I'm clicking on all, clicking on submit, and then now you have to validate the list, because this step will navigate to that module all, which shows the list of records. But if you will go to list and related list, here it says validate record present in the list. It's related list as well, but I'm talking about first list right now. So we have open a record in list, we have validate record present in a list. What I will do, let's say I go here, I click on all. Do we have this? Yeah, we have this 1029. I will just use this one, I think, so that I can validate it. So I will come here, validate record present in a list. You can also apply a filter to the list. So if you have some condition, you want to validate that record, you can apply the filter and check. And now I can go to validate record present in the list. I will click on next. And I will basically, it's not related list, it's list. So here we can select list type list. And this record, I can select maybe, click on magnifying glass. Here I have to select that record which needs to be validated. It is done. You have to validate record is present in the list or not. So I will click on submit. And then I will click on add test step. Here we have open a record in the list. I can basically open same record if I want. Here I will select the record. I will just mention the same record. I will just click on this, click on OK. And you can do this also via creating a record, submitting it, selecting in data pill. That is also possible. But I've just taken the existing one just to show you the testing. So we will open the record. I will just click on add test step. We have validate related list visibility. Now there is a tweak here. Let's say I open this record. I will show you that manually and then we will see that with ATF. We have this related list available. Let's say I make this to close complete. See, no, close skipped. See the magic. Related list is gone because that is the feature I have added. That means whenever you change the state to close skipped, it will not show you the related list. Same demo app task related list. So in that case, how can I validate this here? I can basically first, I will open the record. So first I have to set the value. So I will set the field value. So it will open the record and it will set the state to close skipped. So I will just mention state to closed skipped and I will just click on submit. And now when you do that, you will just validate whether that related list is visible or not. So I have validated related list visibility. I will click on next. And here I will just mention demo app request parent, this one. So I will just mention it should be once it's closed skipped, it should be not visible. So you have to remember. So it should be not visible. So demo app request, it should be not visible. So I will demo app task parent. I will just click on submit and I will run this test. So if I click on run, we will go to our client test runner and it will execute it. See, the list got opened. We have 1029. Yes, it is there. So it will validate without any issues. It is validating the record. See, we got that record. Now it will open the record. See, it got opened and now it will change the state to close skipped and validate whether the related list is still visible or not, which should not be visible. And now we will see whether it's passing or failing. See, it says validating it's that related list is visible or not. It's done. If we go here, see, gone, done, everything succeeded. That means related list, everything was validated successfully and our test is passed and this is done. So that's how you can validate list and related list with ATF. Service catalog testing. Now I have created two catalog forms. One is record producer and another one is light, camera, action. Next is service catalog form testing. I have created two catalog forms for my demo app. So let's test those catalog forms. So I will just cancel this, and so let's open those forms so that you can just see what all fields are available. So I will go to service catalog, and if I go to maintain items, here I will just click on leave and I will just make it updated, latest updated. So you will see those. So see, we have one is demo app catalog item request. Another one is demo app request. Let's see both one by one. So first we have demo app request. So this one is record producer. So scope is different. I will now change the scope so that I can access those items. So I will change the scope to demo app. So scope is changed, and now I will just reload this so that I can access the records. See, we have try it. So I will just click on try it for this. So this is the catalog form we have. This is the record producer where you have to put short description and you have to put configuration item. If I will just do test, I select any configuration item, let's say this, and I just click on submit. Then you will see that it will create that demo app request form. I submitted short description, but description is also mandatory. So this is how you can create this record. Now another one we have this one. I will just reload it because we changed the scope. We will see this now, try it button, and I will just click on try it to see the form. So if I click on try it, I will see the catalog item. Here you can see we have requesters. Let's say I select able tutor. Here is this request, so I can just put test. Here we have select CI, so I can select, let's say this, and I can click on order now. If I will click on order now, it will again create the same demo app request. So but this time it will create request first. Under request you will see requested item, which will be this, and then under requested item you will see catalog task. See here, I will open that catalog task, and then if I open this, I have these variables, and now if so we have affected CIs. If I change the state to closed complete, and if I save this, this will open two tasks. It will create demo task record and open two demo tasks as well. So I will show you. So we will go here and I will go to demo app. I don't know if it shows here any record, but that's fine. I will just click on all. We have this test. I think this is the one. If I open this, you will see the two this demo app task records are also created automatically. Task 1, task 2. Now this was basically created as part of flow. So I used a flow which I used in this catalog item, and this is running the whole flow. So these are the two catalog items. One is record producer, one is normal catalog item, and we have to test these two catalog items. So let's go to our test, and I will go to automated test. So automated test, I will click on test. I will click on new. Now I will create the test. Applications demo app till here we will just creating in global scope, but you can also create an scoped application as well. So here I will mention demo app service catalog testing. So I will just click on save, and I will add step. So here we have add step, where we have forms, and so you can also access like you can do service portal testing as well, like forms which are in portal, but for now we will just use this service catalog. You also have the service catalog in portal, so you can also test that, but for now we will just use service catalog. Starting with open a catalog item. So I will just click on next. Here I have to select the catalog item. I will just search for demo app. So we have demo app catalog item, but you can also test record producer. Let's test the record producer first. So I will add test step, and if you select service catalog, at the bottom you have open a record producer. So I will click on next. Here we have record producer. I will just search for demo. We have demo app request, click on submit, and then I will click on test, and here I will just set the values. You can also validate, same thing. It's kind of same what you do in form testing, but we will just directly put the set variable values. I will click on next, and here I will select the variables. It will automatically show the variable selected, like the as per the item selected. So I will just mention short description. It could be anything, which is this is test for service catalog, and I can select CMDB CI, and I can put any value I want, and I will click on submit. So that is also done. Set variables, and then I will submit the record producer. I can submit it. So if I will submit that, I will just click here, submit. It is done. I don't have to provide any input variable, and I will just click on add test step now. Here I will validate the values now, because it will open up the form. So here I can mention form, or I can just see. I think I don't have to validate if you want. So overall, as a step, next step, whatever testing you did previously, like form testing, like value validation, state validation, now you can do that as well. You can add further steps. But for this one, we will just submit the record producer, and we will show the form. You will automatically see that. So I'm just canceling this, and now I'm just running the test. So if I click on run, I will go to the test runner, which is here, and you will see it will open the record producer. See, it will set the values, which is short description and configuration item, and then I will click on submit, like submitting the record producer. See, the demo app request form record is generated. So that's how you can do testing for record producer testing. Now we will test service catalog item. So we will go to the test again, close this, and here I will just add few more steps. I will just disable this record producer test we did. So I'm going to disable them. So make it false, and now I will add the test step. Starting with open a catalog item, I will click on next. Here I will open the same demo app catalog item. So we have this one, click on submit, and then I will click on add test step. Here I can set the variable values. So I will click on next, and here I will mention the values. So starting with select the requester, and I think I can just mention Bernard Laboy, and here I will just mention CI, any CI I want, and then here I can mention what is this request, and then I can mention ATF test for catalog item, and I will click on submit. So this will set the variables, and then I will order that catalog item. So I will click on order catalog item, and I will just order it, and it says assert type successfully ordered catalog item. That's it. And if I will order it, it will definitely create the request and then requested item. So how will I validate whether, I think a request item will definitely be generated. Catalog task will also be generated. But you can do one thing. Let me validate, because I have to validate whether catalog task is generated. So what I will do, I will just first query. So I will do server side testing now, which is this server category, and you will find a lot of these options like record query. So I will go next, and here I will select the table, which is catalog task. So I have this sc underscore task. I will search for basically how can I select? I think request is better. After submitting it, will I get it? Order a catalog item. Yes, I think cart or request. Yes. So request, I can search with that request if there is a catalog task. So I will click on submit, and then I will open that existing record, because I have to make it closed skipped, if you remember. So I have this form. I will open an existing record, and I will just open that existing record, and that record is this one. So I will just mention first record, click on submit. It is done, and now because form is opened, so now I will set the field values. I will set the field values. Here I will make it close skipped. So close complete, not close skipped. So I will just mention state, and here I will mention closed complete, submit, and now I will save it as well. The saving is important. So I will click a UI action, next, and I will save that. So I will just select save. First one is fine, and then form submitted to server, submit. So save will happen, and after saving, it will definitely create records. For that, I will just I just need to check whether it is creating basically records with that number. For that, I think I can go to one place, that is Studio, because I want to validate that the flow is updated properly before I add a few more steps in our test. So this is our demo app. If I go at the bottom, we have this flow. So I will click on that. It will open the flow. So here is our flow. So if I go to this parent, I will go for that catalog task. Let me make sure that create catalog task. Okay. It will create the catalog task, and I can just tag that. I think this is good. So I will just close this flow. Closed. I will go to my test again. So after saving the record, I will just add a test step, and I will open the existing form. So I will click on next, and here I will just mention order query. Yeah, I will open the same record, which is the catalog task. And then I will search because I have to do the query. So I will go to server. I will select record query next. Now I have to search for a demo app request where parent is this task. So demo app, and here I can just mention parent because I'm using that parent field, parent, and I just mention is you can use this from data pill and this record submit, and that's it. And I can just run this. Let's see how it tests. So now this is testing service catalog item. So this is the client test runner executing. See, we open the service catalog item. It will set the values, all the requester, what is this request, and it will select the CI. It will order it now. Once order will be done, you will see that it will show this request number. Now it will query the catalog task with this request number as well. So let's see. It is opening that. See, it opened that catalog task, and now it will set the value of state. So it will set to closed complete. Setting field values. It will set it to closed complete. Yep, it's done. And then it is just finishing the test execution. It seems like it got failed. But let's see where it failed. That's fine. Go to result. And I think, yeah, it's failed on UI action save because maybe it was not able to find this UI action save. That is the reason. If I go here, we have update but not save. So you can use update rather than save. So I can go to test. Save is something available on, I think, context menu, but not directly as a UI action. So I can set the field values, which is this, and then UI action. But I will take UI action as update, and this will definitely run. So I will just do this update. So I will just update it now. So update. So that means this test is updated. I will just click on run, and go to my client test runner again. So opening the catalog item, submitting the fields. I think this time it should not give any issue. So it is ordering, performing order now action, ordered, request is created. It will open up the catalog task with this request number. So see, opening an existing record, done. It will set the value again, which is closed complete, and then it will update the record. So setting, yep, it's done, closed complete, and now it will update the record. I don't think this time we should get any error. Yep, it got updated. Now it will open the catalog task again. That's what we mentioned as a step. See, it opened the catalog task, but ideally it should open the demo app request. It will just query that whether there is a demo app request or not with this catalog task as a parent. And if I go here, yes, it got succeeded. That means it was able to find that demo app request with that service catalog task. That means our flow ran successfully. And that's how you can run ATF testing for service catalog forms. And the same thing, it's kind of similar with portal service catalog forms as well. Some more options, but overall, this is how you can use ATF for service catalog testing. Next is email testing. You can also validate emails with ATF, whether system is sending any email or not. And you can validate the text as well. Let's see that. So I will close this and I will go to automated test and I will click on test. And here I will click on new, and I will mention this as demo app email testing. I will click on save. So when you create the demo request record, and when you assign any user in this field, then it automatically send an email to that user. That's a notification we have already built. So you can see, I think you can add many users, 49. Okay. So in that case, I will test this. I will click on add test tab. We have to open the record first. So I have to create the record. For that, what I can do, maybe I will not do it with the form. I will do it with server only, because it's an emails. I don't have to use form right now because it's a separate email testing. So I can do record insert. I will do next. Here I can select the table, which is demo app request. And then we have field values. It is record successfully inserted. And for security is something, let's say you also want to validate that user is not able to insert record if you're impersonating with any user. This way, with this checkbox, it will enforce the security. So, but if I will uncheck this, that means it will not enforce the security. It will automatically create it. So what I can do, but I think we are already impersonating with the system users, so it will be able to create it. So that's fine. So we will just put assign to. Let's say assign to is able tutor, and I will put a short description. I will just email testing. I can just put description, and I will just mention, I will just paste this one, and I will just mention configuration item, maybe this, and I will just submit it. So I'm just inserting the record, and then I will just validate whether it is triggering any email or not. So in that case, I will go to email. So we have this category email, and here it says validate outbound email. There are some other options that you can also validate. I think email by this, inbound, reply, string. So you can basically validate outbound email. I can click on next, and here I can validate text. I can validate subject. So here we have state is anything, all these different options. I will just close this. The email, what kind of email it sends, I can just validate it first. So I'm going to emails, this type of demo app request. So I will go here, and I will just mention subject starts with. So it will validate whether I'm able to find any request with the subject, and it will also validate. Let me just open this record, and then I will just mention, and maybe it is created just in last 15 minutes. So I will mention created date, and it is last 15 minutes, and I will submit this, and I will just run the test. Now this will not be UI testing, this will be server side testing, both. So I will just click on run. You can ideally do this with UI, that first open the record, open the new form, submit it by filling the fields, and then you can validate the outbound email. That is also fine. You can also do that. So it will not run any client side. You can see it just running the server side. So it is inserting the record first, see, and then if I click on go to result, so it validated successfully. That means a record was inserted successfully, and even the outbound email, that means it sent some email. That means same kind of email, which we validated like this demo app request. So it was able to validate that. But that's how you can validate email with ATF. Overall, email testing can be done with email with the ATF, which is the email category feature we have in ATF. So that's how you can validate email with ATF in ServiceNow. Next is integration testing. You can also perform testing with ATF for REST integration, for inbound REST integration, but you can also do for outbound. For outbound, you just need to create a new custom test configuration. But for inbound, it is available out of the box, that is REST integration. So let's take a look. So we will go to tests and I will create a new test. So I will click on new, and here I will mention demo app API testing. I will save this. Now, if you remember that short description and description, they are mandatory. But what about server level? I think we don't need to provide description for server level. It is just for client, because we added that UI policy, not data policy. So let's check this. So I will add this. I will go here, add step. At the bottom, you will see this REST. So we do have a category for integration testing. And these are all different steps which you can use to perform testing for integration. This is the one, REST, send REST request inbound. So I can just do next. Here you have to provide basic authentication. So you have to create the profile. I have already created a profile, which you can see here, demo app auth. And here you can provide the methods, whether you want to get, post, put, delete, patch. Let's say I'm doing post. Now, how can I basically get the payload? Because that is really important. For that, you can use a feature that is REST API Explorer. So let's say if I type here REST API Explorer, I can build any kind of API endpoint and what kind of payload I can send. That is totally possible with API Explorer. So we will select the table API. So here, so I will select this post, and here I will mention demo app request, and I can just build the data. Let's see, short description. So this is test from API. I can put description as well. This is test from API, and I can just click on send. It will click on OK. When you will do that, it will, yep, we got it, 201 created. So it is already giving you the request body. So I'm just doing like this. I will mention the body. If you want, you can also provide the headers. So like content type. So I can put headers. One more. I could put accept, and I have this one, application / JSON. So for both parameters, both headers, we will put application / JSON. Path you need to provide after this one, .com. So I can provide this like this. So it is done. And I can now click on submit. So this should create the record. And we will just keep that list open. So I will go to demo app. I will click on all. And let's see if we will get any. So test from API. We have 1046. Let's see if it creates any record. Send REST inbound. API call is happening. And then I will just click on run. Now this is again server side. This is not client side. It is just executing server. So see, it's done. If I go to result, yep, we got it. It says 201 created. I think you can see the response as well in this. Scheduler. So we have transaction, key management framework, output request. We got this output. Let's see. Yes, we got the response. Yep, this is the response body. We got 1047. If I refresh this, it is not there. You can see 1047 is not there. The reason is because it got rolled back. That record is rolled back. That's the reason. So this record was created with this API call, but it didn't save the record. Now I can just go back. Now, what I will do, I will not use a description. Let's see what happens. Will it give me any error? Or maybe I will not give a short description. Will it give me any error? I can just check that. So I will open this demo app API testing. Or maybe I will see some more options. I'd test step. So if you will do that, you will see you have assert status code. So we should get 201. That's a status code I want. So what I can do, I can just mention here 201. If I will get 200, then only it should pass it, else not. So we will validate. We can validate code. We can validate name, time, header. We can also validate that. Response payload, whether it's valid or not. XML response payload elements. You can also validate elements. Let's say if any text is coming, you want to validate that. Then assert response payload. You can also validate that, whether if you want to basically assert HTTP payload is equals or contains a specified value. If the response contains a specified value, that you can validate. For example, that as part of this this request, when you are creating anything, then it will definitely have this word DEMR definitely in the response. So you can validate that if you want. These are the different steps which you can basically use to perform testing for integration and validate whether your system basically integration is working fine or not. Let's say you are making some changes for incident and you have added a new data policy, and that data policy is definitely needed for integration as well. But let's say before that change is done in production, people were not using short description as a mandatory field, but now it has become mandatory. In that case, you need to perform testing, because if you will perform testing, it will fail because short description is now mandatory and your system will not allow to create any record. That means ATF can validate that. And then you can add that step into ATF and then it will pass. And that's how you can make sure that your integration is running fine without any issues. So that's how you can do integration testing in ServiceNow with this REST option, REST category, and you have all these different steps. One more thing I already mentioned, that for outbound integration, there is no out-of-the-box option available, but however, you can create your own custom step and use that for outbound integration testing. Test templates. An ATF test template is a reusable set of test steps that are commonly used together. Test templates can include any combination of test steps. Test steps in a template may require additional configuration once added to a test. Let's create a test template in our instance. So in Automated Test Framework, if you'll go to the administration, you have this module called Test Templates. Click on the module. You will see list of test templates available in your instance. As of now, we have out of the box one, default new form test template. But let's create a new one. So I will click on new. It will open up the new form. I can provide any name, let's say demo app template. And here I have to provide test template. If I open this and I search for different steps which we can add, so we definitely want impersonate. So I will impersonate a user. Then I will open up a form. I definitely want that kind of step as well. I want to open a form. Not existing, new form. Open a new form, and then here I can maybe set the field values or submit. I think submit is better. Submit. If I search with submit, submit a order, submit a form. So these three tests I'm just mentioning here. I'm just locking this and clicking on submit. So a new test template is created with these three options, which is impersonate, open a new form, and submit a form. Now let's create a test with the test template. So we have already created this demo app template. I will go to tests, click on new. Here I can mention demo app template test. I can save this. Now, when you save the test, and at the bottom in test steps, you have two options: add test step, and another option is add test template. You click on this option. It will ask you which template you want to add. So here you can see we have two test templates. One is out of the box and another one which we created. So I can select the new one which we just created. It will also tell you, it will ask you to select the table. Why? I will show you why. So let's say here I can select demo app request and I click on add. When you do that, it automatically creates those test steps by mentioning those tables as well. For example, you can see open a new form. It automatically selected demo app request form. You don't have to mention it. It will automatically pick that table. That's the powerful feature you have for template. So if you have to create test like with multiple steps, but those steps are basically repeated in different kind of test, then you can always use test template. Test suites. Test suites are hierarchical logical groupings of related tests and or other test suites to run as a single job. So when you have, let's say, multiple tests for a specific module, you can club them in just one parent test, which is called as a suite. And then you can run all those tests together with just suite. Let's see that. So you go to Automated Test Framework, and then after tests module, you have the suites. You click on this, you will see out of the box multiple test suites available in your instance. As of now, we have these. It's basically 45. It is just one I added. So these are all out of the box test suites. Now, if you want to create a new one, you can definitely create from this list. And if I show you what exactly this test suite is, let's see this one. Agent 0 plugin, and it should have some tests. See, now this test parent test suite has this test. Test suite can also have child test suites. See here. You can also have test suite results. You have test results. You can also have test suite results. And then you also have test suite schedules, that when exactly this test will be running. So that we will learn a little bit later. Create test suites. So I have to go to suites. I will click on this new button. What I will do, we already created a lot of demo app test suites, tests, not suites. Now I will mention here demo app test suite. And I will click on save. Now this will just create a record. Here I can add more tests from here. But there is another way. What I can do, I can mention name starts with demo app. Because I have mentioned in all the tests which we created with this demo app. Let's see if I save this. Let's see if add more tests or not. if I go to suites and I search for demo, so we have this one. Yeah, you can see that it automatically added all those tests which are starting with demo app automatically. Now, what is the benefit of this test suite now? You added, first of all, bucketing, that you are putting all these tests in just one bucket. That's one thing. Now, another thing is you can also run the test suite. So here's the feature. See, here's the button we have. You can debug test suite as well. You can copy the whole suite. You can display the aging report. Then you also have child test suites. Let's say even above this, I want to create a test suite. Let's try that. I will go here, and what I will create, because I'm just showing you the relationship. So here I will mention demo app, and I will just mention maybe top level suite, and I will save this. I will not put any condition to add any test, but I will do one thing. I will add a test suite as a child for this. So I will go to suites. I will add that updated field so that I can sort this here. So I have this this one, demo app suite. I can add here this one as a parent. So if I add this demo app, this one, demo app top level suite, I'm going to save this. Now, if you will go to this record, you will see what I am talking about, the relationship. So this demo app top level suite has one child suite, and this demo app test suite has 7 tests which you can run. So if you want to run this, you just need to run the whole test suite, and it will automatically run all these different tests you have in part of this test suite. We also have execution order, that if you want to execute them in order, like 1, I can just mention 2, here 3, then a 4, then a 5, 5, and then I can mention 6, and then I can mention 7. Now here one more option I have, abort on failure. So let's say when you run this test suite and it will start with this test, let's say it got failed. Do you want to abort the whole test suite, or you want to continue to the next test? So I think I would recommend to make it false forever, because you definitely want to see for all the tests. So that's the reason I normally keep it as false. So I would recommend for that as well. Let's run the test suites we created. So I will go to this test suite. So we already have this run test suite. And if I click on this, it will run the whole suite together. And I can go to the client test runner. Now there's no different client test runner for test suite. It will be same for every test suite you are running. But there is a difference for scheduled client test runner. We will see that a little bit later. So for now, you can see it is running the whole suite, all the tests. And you can also see in the status bar. See, first it is running this. If I can collapse it, expand. It is first running this one, then second, third, fourth. It will keep on running. Once it will run all the test suites, all the tests under this test suite, then only it will stop executing. So as of now, it is running this, and you can keep this page open, this tab open, so that it can be expedited. If you remember, I already mentioned to make your test runner faster, to execute the test faster, you should keep the same window open until you're planning to use headless browser. But I don't have headless browser yet in this system, so I cannot use that. So I'm just using normal client test center, and I have to be on this tab. So you can see all tests are executed successfully, but we will see what are the results we have. So I go to first tab. You can see all the tests as part of this suite, they ran, but some are succeeded, some got failed. And now I can click on to go to result. There is one more option, rerun failed test. Let's say you want to rerun failed test. You can do it directly from here, or you can go to result. So if I click on this, this will show me test suite result. Now this result is different from test result. Test result shows you information about just the particular test. Test suite result shows you the information about all the tests as which ran as part of that test suite execution, because it also showing you some more data, like or whatever tests we had, like 5 rolled up test failures, 2 schedule run, status, duration, number, test suite, and then results it is showing you here. Then we have all suite results, and then failed test in suite as well. It will show you that which test got failed. So this is how you can create a test suite and run test suite to get the broader results, to get the results to execute multiple tests in just one go. And this will be really useful for regression testing, let's say for incident management, change management, all or other modules, or like just demo app we did. Parameterized tests. Parameterized tests run multiple times with different test data for each run. It eliminates the need to duplicate test steps to change test data. It increases test reuse by separating test actions from test data. It produces a separate test result for each data set. So parameterized tests basically give you option to run the same test with 2 different users maybe, who have 2 different roles. Let's take a look. So I go to test, and let's say I create a new test. Here I can just mention demo app parameterized test. I will save this. But to enable parameterized testing, you have to check this checkbox, enable parameterized testing. So I will just check this checkbox, save this. When you will do that, you will also see additional related list, which is parameterized test results. And then you also have definitions and test run data sets. So here, let's say I will mention add exclusive parameters. So I will just add, in this case, I can mention maybe type. I will just mention reference, and it will be ITIL user. And here I can just mention sys user table. So ITIL user or just user. I think user is much better because we have to add the roles later. So I will just mention user, and I will just submit this. And this is submitted. So we have our parameter definition, and then I can just go to run data sets. Here I can just click on new. Here I can mention one as ITIL user, and another I can add ATF user. So here I can add ATF user. So I will just ATF user. I will submit this. So you can do it via user. You can also select role. It's totally up to you how you want to what kind of dynamic data you want to use in your test. Now I can just add a test step. Let's say I will click on here, add. I will impersonate. Now here you will see the magic. If I will click on next, it will ask me the user to test, that which user I need to impersonate. And this is the main feature. If you go to here you can access parameters. So today I can select that parameter. Now I'm not selecting ITIL user or ATF user. Just understand the difference. I'm not selecting ITIL user or ATF. I'm just selecting the parameter where I can select ITIL or ATF. I will submit this. And this time, if I will run this test, you will see two different results. I will run this. It will run. That's a server side. It will just quickly run. See, it's done. But we got two different tests, because one with ITIL, one with ATF. If you will add more, it will run for all of them together. So I can just now go to results. And you can see parameterized test result. Now we have third type of result. One is test result, test suite result, and now we also have parameterized test result, where you can see one was for ATF user, another one was for ITIL user. That's how you can see the result, that what kind of result you are getting by impersonating with different types of users and by using the dynamic data. So that's how you can use parameterized test results. I'm sure this feature will be really useful for performing the regression testing in ServiceNow for different modules and applications we have. Scheduling test. ATF developers can also schedule test suites to run at a specific date and time. Designated users are notified when scheduled test suites finish execution. So let's see schedule test. So if I go to my instance, here we have Automated Test Framework, and here we have schedules. So you cannot schedule test. You can always schedule test suites. So if I go to schedules, so here we have this demo app schedule already created, but I will create another one again. I will just click on new. I will just select here demo app new schedule. And I can just mention daily, or I will just make it on demand for now. And or maybe let's do one thing. Let's use, I will just mention, or on demand is okay. I will just save this. Now this schedule is created. Now which particular test it will run, that you have to select it from here. As of now, you just created the schedule that this is the time I want this test suite to run. But for as of now, it is just on demand, but you can schedule it anytime, which is daily, monthly, whatever time you want. I will just add that suite which I want to run. So you have to add the suite. I will just add demo. So I will just mention demo app, this one, the top level one. And I will just, you can select the browser name. I will mention Safari. You can mention operating system. We have Mac OS. And you can add here reports if you want to get. System administrator, I will also add maybe Able Tutor. I will click on submit. That means it is done. Our schedule is created for demo app. Now, will it run the whole testing in client test runner? Actually not. It has a different client test runner. So we have two types of client test runner. One is normal, basic or general client test runner, standard one. Second one is scheduled client test runner, which is just at the bottom of client test runner here. And we have this one, scheduled client test runner. If I click on this, this will also open like that. See, and if maybe I will open this in a new tab, but I will just close this for now. I will just maybe go to suite results and check client test runner. One is still online. Let's see. This is the on this one. I will close this. And now I will validate the status. I will click on all again. Yep, all are offline. Good. I will now open this one, schedule client test runner. And now I will go to the schedule. So here, now because it will not run automatically. The good part is if you will keep this scheduled client test runner open, then system will automatically run on the same time when that particular test suite was scheduled to run. So for example, you scheduled it for daily 1 p.m. and your scheduled client test runner is open. It will automatically trigger at the same time. But let's see the execute now because it's on demand for now. So I will click on this demo app new schedule. It is not running as of now, but I will show you that it will run. So if I click on execute now, so let's see, waiting for test to run, same thing, waiting for test to run. So we have just clicked on that. It got cancelled. All suites were cancelled. That's fine. Maybe it says scheduled that satisfy these client constraint not available. Maybe there must be some issue like browser. I don't know. Maybe because of some version or something it is not giving. But overall, if that scheduled test suite will run, it will run. All the tests will run in this tab, which is scheduled client test runner, not standard client test runner. Thank you for watching this course. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And please provide the feedback of this course in comments. Thank you and have a great day.